Tonight, the Troy community meets the men's and women's basketball teams.
Plus, students dig up a little history. Stay tuned, Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
Digital Production Center on the Troy campus with news from Troy University locations around the world. This is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for November 2nd, 2012. I'm Deatra Montgomery.
And I am Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. With the NBA season starting this past week, that means the basketball season is on the horizon for the Trojans. Jessica McNally gives us a look at the Basketball Appreciation Night.
The new Trojan Arena opened up its doors Thursday night to let fans get a glimpse of some of the athletes that will be playing there for years to come.
Tonight is Meet the Trojans Night, featuring our men's and women's basketball teams. It's also a chance for us to give the general public a look at our brand new arena, Trojan Arena. It's an excellent venue, and everyone's very excited to be here.
Both the men's and women's basketball teams were able to sign autographs, pose for pictures, and just sit down and talk to the public. Head coaches Chanda Rigby and Don Maestri addressed the fans, and one athlete came out to show support for her fellow Trojans.
Athletes have to support athletes. I have two roommates who are basketball players, so I, of course, have to come support them.
One faithful Trojan fan gives his reason for coming out and supporting the basketball teams.
Just growing up here in Pike County, we've got a D1 school right here in our backyard, so it makes no sense for you to be pulling for anybody else. So this has been my place for a while, and now it's just nice to see a new arena for the basketball program.
Murphy explains why this day is huge in the advancement of the teams this season.
We're hoping to generate a lot of enthusiasm for our Meet the Trojans night because the season opens next week. Believe it or not, here we are. And next weekend is going to be a huge weekend on this campus and in this city. We host Mississippi State. The Bulldogs from the Southeastern Conference are coming here to play our men's basketball team on Friday night. And then the midshipmen from Navy will be here on Saturday in football. It's a huge weekend. Tonight really gets things going a little bit. It gets everyone excited about the venue, excited about what's coming on next weekend.
Justin McNally, Troy TrojanVision News.
As you heard, the first basketball game will be next Friday night in the new Trojan Arena against Mississippi State. We'll learn more about the men's basketball season later on in Trojan Talk.
The Weight of the Nation Information Forum wrapped up their final meeting this week. The goal of the forum was to educate students about the growing effect of obesity in the United States. Brittany Harris gives us a look at the last meeting.
Nutritionist Teresa Johnson held her last educational session Thursday night on the Weight of the Nation, which informed students about the seriousness of obesity.
Tonight was our fourth installment of the HBO film series Weight of the Nation. This film series is emphasizing and exposing the general public, making them aware of our national obesity epidemic that's going on in this country.
During the session, students were educated on how to be more conscious of their environment and the foods they choose to eat.
I think many students are surprised to find that we do have an obesity problem because they are used to being around or growing up in a population of really heavy people. They don't realize what obesity is.
The session gave students the opportunity to discuss obesity and break down how they would fix the issue.
My big thing is I don't really eat as much as I'm supposed to. So my metabolism slows down, and it's a domino effect. I don't eat, metabolism slows down, I don't lose weight. And then I choose to eat the wrong foods and I end up gaining weight.
Obesity can also affect a person's health.
These are the consequences of that: the heart disease, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the kidney failure, the joint problems. We have moved from a society where the leading causes of death were infectious in nature to now we're in chronic disease. 5 of our 10 leading causes of death are related to obesity.
The Weight of the Nation held 3 information meetings this semester. Well, Bailey, Troy students got a chance of a lifetime this past summer.
That's right, Deatra. 5 students got the chance to go overseas and get some valuable learning experience. Judson Garner has more.
5 archaeology students went on a prestigious expedition to Israel this past summer and uncovered something that they didn't expect.
This year, we were able to open up about 100 dog casts that had just been plastered.
Troy University students joined the Leon Levy expedition to Ashkelon led by Harvard University this past summer for the second time ever, and the discovery of a literally ancient dog burial site was a big finding for the group, but they're not certain what exactly they brought to the surface.
So far, the bones don't really indicate anything such as, sacrifice or anything like that. It's just, they seem to have died of natural causes. Still don't know why they buried them.
And other artifacts were found. Jackson says the trip was a big event for archaeology students and the first time Troy University has sent archaeology students out of the country. Students not only paired with their peers from Harvard, but other notable Ivy League universities as well.
In some cases, we knew more than them.
Israel is a country that makes headlines a lot. There are several dangerous conflicts in the Middle East now, and after 2 months, these students did in fact gain understanding of what it's like to be in modern-day Israel.
Israel has the Iron Dome, which is a anti-missile defense system where when they detect a rocket being sent to them, they send out a counter missile and just destroy it in the air. And so when you're over there, you'll hear alarms go off and you'll hear a big explosion, but that's usually just the Iron Dome.
Despite that risk, Jackson says all students made it home safe and took with them some exciting life experiences. Judson Garner, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Students left on June 9th and spent 2 months in Israel. The leader of the expedition, Harvard's Dr. Lawrence Stagger, said students from Troy have become an integral part of Ashkelon experience.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Hoover, a group of students participating in a mock trial competition in New York are back home safely after being stranded by Hurricane Sandy. One of the teachers on the trip said the students were safe in a hotel and they were able to communicate with their parents to let them know they were okay.
And in Tuscaloosa, Vietnam veteran John Hooks has received his Purple Heart after 42 years. Hooks earned the honor as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Air Force and was wounded by enemy forces. An error in processing his paperwork kept him from getting the prestigious military medal.
And in Camden, former State Representative James Thomas has been convicted of a charge of having sexual contact with a student. He was acquitted of a felony sexual abuse charge. 69-year-old Thomas was charged with having sexual contact with a 17-year-old honor student in his office at Wilcox Central High School in November of 2010.
Still to come on Troy TrojanVision Nightly News, the Trojan football team is preparing for another tough road test. Justin McNeely will give us the details later in sports.
But first, with the election only a few days away, the president and Mitt Romney are back in Ohio campaigning for the swing state vote. We'll have that story and more after the break.
The presidential candidates crisscross Ohio looking for every last vote.
To serve our country, stand for something bigger than ourselves, and protect the things we love. Although we were ready to face any mission, help those in need, and make a difference, for some of us, coming home was more of a challenge than we expected. In the service, we had each other's backs. But as veterans, it can sometimes feel like we're all alone, even when surrounded by our loved ones.
At the Veterans Crisis Line, we understand what you're going through, and we can help. It's your call.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Deatra Montgomery at the Global News Desk. Deatra.
Election Day, President Obama and GOP rival Mitt Romney are campaigning in must-win swing states and responding to the latest unemployment report. Daniel Nottingham is at the White House with the latest.
Armed with the latest jobs numbers, President Obama and Republican rival Mitt Romney are battling it out over the economy.
And unless we change course, we may well be looking at another recession.
We've made real progress, but we are here today because we know we've got more work to do.
Employers added 171,000 jobs in October, but with more Americans looking for work, the unemployment rate moved up slightly from 7.8 to 7.9%. Romney told voters in Wisconsin he can do better.
This is not a time for America to settle. We're 4 days away from a fresh start.
In Ohio, President Obama made the case he is moving the country forward.
We know what change looks like. And what the governor's offering ain't it.
Ohio could decide who wins the White House. Not only are the candidates spending a lot of time there in these closing days, they're bombarding voters with fresh TV ads.
Who will do more for the auto industry?
Mitt Romney is airing a new commercial in Ohio, saying workers in China benefited from the auto bailout. At a rally outside Columbus, the president fired back.
You don't scare hardworking Americans just to scare up some votes.
With the race tight in 9 swing states, both candidates will sprint through battlegrounds this weekend, trying to win over a shrinking number of undecided voters and get their supporters to the polls. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
The U.S. Transportation Secretary is visiting New Jersey to help with the massive recovery after Superstorm Sandy. But for now, much of the state remains crippled without power or roads and with dwindling gas supplies. Allison Harmelin has the latest.
Gasoline is going for a real premium at this strip mall outside the devastated town of Seaside Heights. 5 gallons of gas is on sale for $50.
We stood in line for 4 hours the other day to get gas for our generator.
Federal and local officials have promised more fuel is on the way. But for now, AAA estimates 60% of gas stations in New Jersey are shuttered with either no gas or no power to pump it. Utility crews are struggling to reach Seaside Heights. The bridge leading to the famous Barrier Island is closed. The famous coastal town took a direct hit, leaving many amusement park rides in the water. State police have now deemed the island uninhabitable and are telling people to evacuate. Across the state, more than 1 million people are still without power, and the temperatures are dropping at night.
You can't do nothing without power. You need your heat, you know. You got to take showers, stay clean and stuff, so... I mean, this is all sewage. This all came up from the river and the sewers.
In one of the hardest hit areas, the home behind me was picked up off its foundations, dropped in the lot behind it, and now it's teetering on the verge of collapse. On Long Beach Island, the storm left popular beach communities in ruins. The McGrann's house survived, but they worry about whether the community will ever bounce back.
Just to see it actually it's like a desert wasteland.
Sites like this dot the Jersey coast, homes flattened or lifted off their foundations, or in this case, sliced in half, walls and floor simply blown away. Allison Harmelin for CBS News, Long Beach Island, New Jersey.
More than a third of adults in the U.S. are obese, and that seems to be fueling a rise in the number of personal trainers. Big Ashley Band reports from Los Angeles.
Ryan Harbrick struggled to lose weight on his own for most of his life.
You know, my knowledge of working out is very limited and just kind of stumbling all over the place. No real guidance, no real goal setting.
The weight just kept piling on. At 6'6", he got up to 375 pounds.
There was also a lot of depression going on.
Down and pull. 5 more, please.
Desperate to get healthy physically and emotionally, he hired a personal trainer.
3 more. It's about dealing with the personal issues, the personal obstacles, and setting something up that meets them at their place of need, and then following up over time.
The demand for personal trainers is growing. The number of fitness instructors is expected to jump almost 25% over the next decade. Dr. Cedric Bryant from the American Council on Exercise believes the spike is directly connected to the nation's obesity epidemic.
Without a doubt, personal trainers are seeing more obese individuals and individuals who are suffering from a variety of obesity-related conditions.
But sticking with it has been tough for Ryan. He quit his workout program for more than 3 years before coming back.
It's not happiness in a pill. It's, you know, really sticking for the long haul and getting it taken care of in a healthy fashion.
Since March, Ryan has lost 2 inches from his waist and added healthy muscle. His goal is to lose 50 pounds over the next year, but says he's more proud of what he's gained in the process.
Beautiful.
Bigatchaban, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, such as the residents of New Zealand's reaction to the iPad 4, you can tune in to Trojan Vision Global News right after the nightly news. Now back to you, Bailey.
Thank you, Deatra. Now Justin McNally joins us for a look at sports. So Justin, kind of a slow week for Trojan athletics. The soccer team wrapped up their season, and we have a couple of games going on this weekend.
That's right. It's a couple of big key games this weekend for the Trojan football team and volleyball teams. Football, needs this win, to keep pace, to go to a bowl game. And the volleyball team needs this, to make up some ground in the Sun Belt. Right. But I'll get to that and more here in sports.
Okay.
Another Friday here at TrojanVision Nightly News, and that means another preview of the Trojan football team's next game. Danielle Percival breaks down the matchup of the Trojans versus the Vols.
For the Trojans, there are only 4 games left on the schedule, but though the season is winding down, the competition isn't, and neither are the stakes.
Every game, it feels like it's more and more important right now. So it certainly feels more important than last week was. I can say that it's the biggest game of the season. Each game is the biggest game of the season, though.
The Tennessee Volunteers are the Trojans' next opponent, and while they are only 3-5, they are in the SEC and have won 8 in a row at home against non-conference opponents.
We look at them as any other team. I don't think they know one special, so I'm going to look at them as another team. I know they're in the SEC, but, they're not Alabama.
We sweat the same way they sweat. We work hard the same way they work. And we all play football. We all men.
It's an SEC team, but they are 19, 20, 21-year-old men just like we are.
Troy has already faced one SEC team this season, Mississippi State, and players say they can take lessons from that game and apply it to this matchup.
Well, I think it gives us confidence and make the guys believe we can stick with the SEC team. We're just going to take preparation like any other game, but we know we're going to have to play just like we prepared for Mississippi State, because obviously they're way better than our average opponent that we face in the Sun Belt. They're SEC school, they got SEC players. So we just gonna have everything just gonna have to be to perfection.
The Vols have won 11 straight against opponents not from BCS conferences and are 7-1 all time against current Sun Belt schools. But Coach Blakeney says it's not simply about showing up.
We will have a plan to win. It's not a plan to go look good losing close. That is not how we play, and that's not how we are successful to get wins, and that's not what we'll do.
You can't go into a game like this expecting just to have a good showing. We have to go into a game like this expecting to get a win.
I think when we go in those big arenas, people kind of look down on us like we'll automatic win in most cases, but we'll try to prove them wrong.
This is the first meeting between these schools, and for Reeves, playing at Neyland Stadium, which is the 3rd largest stadium in the country, is what the game of football is all about.
If that crowd that they're going to have down there and all them screaming Orange fans don't get you motivated, I don't know what will.
Danielle Percival, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
All right, Trojan fans, this one is another bright and early kickoff. No sleeping late on Saturday, especially if you got the bright idea to go to the game. Kickoff at Neyland Stadium is at 11 Central, and the game will be aired on Fox Sports Net. And by the way, the weekend is homecoming up in Knoxville. And with a season that has exceeded expectations, the Trojan volleyball team can do the unthinkable tonight as they take on Western Kentucky. The Trojans enter this matchup against the Hilltoppers 0-16 all-time, which includes a 3-set loss in the first Sun Belt game earlier this season. The Trojans have went 8-2 in conference since that loss and look to keep momentum going as they look to lock up second place in the Sun Belt Conference standings. The Trojans are currently 1 game ahead of UALR for second place in those standings. If you would like to support your Trojans, you still have some time to make it over to Sartain Hall. The game is set for 7 o'clock. Now, I know we discussed yesterday that the soccer team season came to an end and we'll have to wait until next year to watch them again. But here's some things you can take away for next year's team. Since the 2006 season, the Trojans have improved from the previous season every year except for 2011. The Trojans are returning all but one starter, Aaron Sursley, who is graduating. And the goalie team of Maddie Winters and Katie Camino-Lewis combined for 7 shutouts this season. With a season full of promise that was only halted by a 6-game losing streak, 2013 could be a big year for Trojan soccer. So as you can see, Bailey, Deatra, we got some big games for Trojan athletics this weekend. The football team, this could be one of the biggest wins in school history, going up to Tennessee, knocking off the Vols. And the volleyball team, 0-16 all-time against the Hilltoppers, that would be a tremendous win for our team.
Absolutely, and like you said, if you want to go to the volleyball game, it's tonight at 7 in Sartain Hall, and best of luck to our football team.
That's right. Hopefully both teams can get a win this weekend.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Coming up on TrojanVision Nightly News, we'll get a preview of the Trojan men basketball season.
But first, this week started off chilly, but warmer temperatures have led us to shed our coats. What can we expect for the weekend, Bree?
But as we move into the weekend, those temperatures are definitely going to be here to stay. I'll have more coming up in weather.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
I decided I wanted to go back to graduate school. And I was looking for a college that would be able to accommodate shift work and family life, and the Troy schedule fit in very well with my lifestyle.
On campus or online, Troy offers you in-demand degrees sought after by the law enforcement community. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
My name is Stephanie Birch. I'm a Deputy Chief of Police, and having that degree from Troy is what allowed me to be who I am today.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Bree Sanders joins us for a look at weather.
So, Bree, from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, we've been seeing higher temperatures all the way down to lower temperatures, all the way down to all the way up to higher temperatures. What are we going to expect for the upcoming weekend?
Well, as we move into our weekend, it looks like those warm temperatures are going to be here to stay, but I'll get more into that right now. First, let's take a look at our campus snapshot. On campus, we see that it's a beautiful day outside, the sun setting right over Viv Graves. So whether you're headed to class or you're headed out to work, you can definitely stay outside and enjoy the view if you like. Moving on to our current conditions in our area, we have sunny skies, temperatures at 78 degrees, dew points at 53 degrees, humidity's at 41%, barometers at 29.98 inches and steady. Winds are coming in from the southwest at about 5 miles per hour. Today's stats, we had a high today of 79, a low of 46. There was no rain in our area. The sun rises at 7 o'clock a.m. and it should set at 5:53 p.m. As we look at our temperatures around the state, overall the state is experiencing mid to upper 70-degree temperatures. Mobile coming in with a high at 82, Huntsville with a low at 74, Birmingham at 77, Montgomery, Troy, and Phoenix City at 78, Dothan at 79. Temperatures around the southeast in our area, we're on average at about an upper 78-degree temperatures right now. And as we look throughout the United States, as we look up north into the northwest, they're experiencing some mid-40, upper 30-degree temperatures right there in Montana. Departure from normal, like I said earlier, Montana about 8 degrees cooler than what they've seen lately. And as we move into our area, we're about 8 degrees warmer than what we've been seeing. So once again, the states have definitely flip-flopped as it comes to changing conditions in their area. Current surface map, as we move throughout the rest of the United States, we have a few high and low pressure systems moving in throughout the southeast. Taking a closer look at our area, we have a cold front pushing through the northern part of our state, possibly bringing in some rain later on. Precipitation forecast over the next 48 hours. We shouldn't be expecting too much rain in our area. As we move into the weekend, no rain, but on Sunday that rain gets very heavy in the southeast. On Monday it clears back out of our area, and on Tuesday it pushes back throughout the rest of the southeast. For tonight's forecast, we have a very cool night. Low going to be at 52 degrees tonight. Light winds coming in from the southwest at about 3 miles per hour. Tomorrow's forecast mainly sunny in our area. Very beautiful outside. The high gets right there to 84 degrees. Winds will be coming in from the west-southwest at about 4 miles per hour. Taking a look at our 4-day forecast, like I said earlier, moving into tomorrow, that high gets to about 84 degrees with a low of 56. On Sunday, that high drops back down to 80 degrees. We do have a chance of scattered thunderstorms in our area, about a 50% chance of so. That low gets to about 50 degrees. On Monday, that high keeps right on dropping back down to the mid-70s, or right at 74. The low gets to about 50 degrees. And on Tuesday, the high keeps dropping, and it gets to about 67 with about a 30% chance of rain in our area. So, Deatra, we have been experiencing those cooler conditions all week. And yes, now we're back into the mid-80s again, and it looks like they're going to be here to stay through the weekend. But next week, we will be experiencing some rain, and those temperatures are going to go back down.
Okay, well, it's nice to have some heat, but it's good that the cold weather is coming back.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Bree.
You're welcome.